So when did you take off?
On that flight?
Yeah.
Well, this was a volunteer flight. You volunteered and you get double credits. They'd already shifted the missions up from 25 to 35, and they're talking to shifting them up to 50 before you can go.
What was the value of the credits?
The credits where you get 35 missions and you go home. Now, if you hit a heavy target, and the flak is really heavy, you get mission and a half. Milk runs get 1 mission. Night missions get double credit. Well, sign me up. Because I got a baby expected at home. I don't know who she is, but I know that we're expecting one. And I should really be home. They deprived me of it the last time, and I should really be home. So, 2 or 3 of the crew, one of them, who should never have signed up, Lester Johnson, was so petrified. He was the engineer, and he was so petrified of flying that he would stand right there behind the pilot and co-pilot and operate the top turret guns, the 250 calibers up in the top. Well, Lester Johnson would shake so hard that he would shake the airplane. I didn't think of the engines. But he was so petrified, and that night he was shaking so hard and was afraid. Well, have somebody that close to you, it makes you uneasy.
That much fear, yeah.
Boy, it's really coming out of him. So I said, Lester, go to the back of the plane and send Dave up. Dave was our waist gunner, who was the ex-Greyhound bus driver. Because I didn't care if I had an engineer at my back or anything, because Dave could read those instruments. They read the instruments, tell you how much trouble you're in, what engine is misfiring, and then Dave was watching Greyhound buses. Would be just as probably more qualified than this ex-gangster. So, for that reason, Lester Johnson lived. Because that plane crashed that night, he ran out the back door without a scratch. And the tail gunner ran out. And Dave died. Everybody died in that plane, but the 2 in the back.
How did they run out?
Well, we were headed for Vienna that night. And we took off at midnight. The first plane that I was issued wasn't the plane we'd flown over. The commander of the squadron took the plane that I brought over as brand new with radar. And so he requisitioned that plane. We got which we call blessed event. And because my navigator and I were both expecting children, and so I thought, well, blessed event. Here's another shot. But we lost that plane, and first plane I started up, number 3 engine, the oil pressure dropping off. And I couldn't understand that, and so I got out and got another plane, moved all our equipment over to another plane, started up the engines. Number 3 engine was doing the same thing. Now this is really strange. Couldn't believe it. I rev it way up, and that oil pressure had only come up half as high as it should. Well, what the hell? Can I ask for another plane? I mean, all they were doing was flying the junkers at night because we weren't in any contact. And one thing about night missions was that they would send 3 planes from a squadron. You'd have a 10-hour, 11-hour flight, full bomb load, incendiary bombs. You'd go over a city and just scatter those bombs all over the city like that. Searchlights, ooh boy, if you didn't have your gloves on, you could see the dirt on your fingernails. We had no lights in the cabin, no nothing, flying without lighting any kind of lights. But boy, those lights, those searchlights would catch you. They'd know right where your altitude was, and there you were. And the flak was just so accurate that it was always right at your level. Those big flak guns, you know, they have shells with shrapnel. These shells blow apart, and they can take a plane out of the air if they're 50 feet away. And they fire in brackets of 6, so it goes boom, 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 boom. And so there you're caught.
Oh,
crossfire. Well,
you took off anyway.
we got to Udine, which I've learned to pronounce since we used to call it Udine area, which is near the border of Yugoslavia and Italy, up in the end of the Adriatic. And something hit us, and I don't know what it was, or if something that I saw looked like flak, but wasn't really flak. It was an orange ball that was coming up in the air. Perhaps it was flak, given that I wasn't used to that kind of flak. Well, number 3 engine, oil pressure dropped clear off, and I had the co-pilot feather the engine, but he didn't feather it in time, so it run away. It was windmilling. Well, when you don't get it feathered, you have to have oil pressure to feather that engine. And when it's windmilling, it builds up heat, because the oil pressure, the oil's gone, and the engine is just turning. Yeah.
You're on the way to?
Way to Vienna.
You're on the way to Vienna.
Must be about 3 o'clock in the morning. Black, pitch black, nothing. You can't see anything. But sometimes those flashes. No lights anywhere. No moon, no nothing. Black. But because we had radar in this plane, you can see the outlines of the Adriatic, and you know where you are more or less, and you know which direction you're going, and hopefully you'll find Vienna and do your trip. Now, interesting thing was that night there was a fellow named King Stone this was his last mission. And after we got out of briefing and saw this long red line going up to Vienna, and people were tending to throw up and things like this, knowing it was going to be a heller. This fellow I'd never met before comes to me and he says, "You know, we haven't met." He said, "This is my last mission. And I'm doing the radar, you know." And I said, "Yeah." He said, "We're not going right down the center of the target like we're talking. I mean, right down the main street of Vienna." He said, "No use." He said, and I sort of took umbrage at this, and I'm saying, "What the hell? I'm the pilot of this plane. What are you trying to tell me?" So we weren't on too good a basis, and I was trying to think it over. He was probably right, but I wasn't going to admit it. So I said, "Nothing doing. What are you doing?" Like they're giving me double time for this mission. I was confused. I was a disciplinarian, but not really, but yes, I wanted to do the job right. Well, that cost him his life. I don't know if that cost him his life or if I lived through that crash, because it was a heller. But the stage was set for some indecision, the engine going out. I had flown engines that would smoke all the way around the whole thing before, and I didn't. I had all the confidence, but that night I was, I guess, somehow lacking in confidence. Then we're coming back. I dropped the bombs into the Adriatic and coming back to look for the closest field on our side of the lines, which was at Ancona. So we came close to Ancona, and I radioed saying, "We have an emergency landing. Here's a runway." They said, "You can't land here." I said, "Well, we have to have a runway. We've lost an engine. It's on fire." It was just cherry red, and I was praying it would drop off before it exploded. That engine had been burning for about an hour. I mean, it was really, and the co-pilot was just, leaning over next to me like nestling up against me. Get me away from this engine over here. Oh, shit. So I said, "Give me an alternate runway. We've got to land this plane. This will never make it back to Foggia." They said, "There is a fighter field, 20 miles straight west of here. And they're there. Go ahead and call them. This is a place called Easy." So I look over there. I've got about 4,000 or 5,000 feet this time. 3 engines. Look over there, and I see a light. There's a light. Shit, that's got to be their light. Only light. And I know the Apennines are right there. I'm going to fly into them if I'm not careful, because there's no moon. I can't see a damn thing. But there's a light, and it looks like it's down on the ground. And so I fly off. And 20 minutes, so you're going about 2 miles a minute. it takes about 10 minutes to get over that light, and I'm losing altitude because I'm heading for that light, and I'm going to land there. And I see a very string of lights, just very dim string of lights. So that's the runway, sure enough. But they're not answering the radio. They're not saying anything. So, now do we jump? I had everybody with their parachutes on. Do we jump? Do we jump? I mean, I'm going to either fly into these mountains or I'm going to... but I got a lot of confidence. I've landed on 3 engines before. And another engine goes out. Number 2 drops off. The oil pressure, and I say, feather that mother. Bang, it's feathered. So this one's feathered, isn't any trouble. But we want to get the lift of the 2 outboards. Do we jump? Do we jump? The bombardier calls up to me and said, we're dropping under 100. We're under 100 miles an hour. And I'm flying as low and slow as I can because I'll just keep enough lift and keep us going with this 2 engines full of steam. So I come around on the string of lights and do a standard landing thing, coming around like this. I'm coming in, and there those lights are. I've got them lined up, and I'm okay. Signal for the flaps to go down, the wheels to go down. Coming in, coming in, coming in, coming in. 90 miles an hour, 85, and wham! Right in front of me is a 2-story stone house. Right there. Shit! I signaled to pull the wheels up. Gave it everything, and we just missed that house, but now I'm nowhere. I can't go up. I'm only going to go that direction anymore. No use tilting this plane. Just sit there and pray. And so my what would be the engineer, Dave, says, careful, it's all right. Everything's going to be all right. Bozzy's sitting there petrified. My co-pilot's just sitting there petrified. And yep, everything's going to be all right. Got full power. Coming in full power. Hopefully the wheels are coming up, because if you land with your wheels down, you go boom, boom. It's dangerous if you're landing where you don't know. Better have your wheels up. So I'm skidding in. Jesus Christ, this was all right, because screams, ding, 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 pull back things, turn off switches, and then all hell broke loose. The ammunition, the 50 caliber, and then the gas tank blew up over there, and everything is on fire. And it's now 100, 200, 600 degrees in this cockpit, and my legs aren't operating. I can't move them. And I'm thinking, there's no way out of the plane because with the wheels up, the door is on the ground. As the door is, you go right through there and down there and out the door. Back door, the 2 in the back ran out the back door. And there we're sitting, frying, dead in the water. And I thought, oh my God, if everybody would stop screaming, this wouldn't be that bad. If everybody would just, and I think I said shut up, David, but I just gave him an order to shut up. And so there we fried to death. Next thing I know, I'm about from here to that tree right there, lying on the ground, everything's on fire, I'm on fire, and there's a bulk of something there, and my legs won't move, and this arm, and I'm on fire here, and everything, my helmet was burning, everything was flying cap. This arm starts to move, and it just moves automatically like a frog. It's just taking me out of there. I mean, just taking me out of there. This arm showed up and just...
Come with me, Vernon.
Yeah. Well, boy. It seems like hours later, somebody grabs me by the collar and he's pulling me along the ground. And lifts me up and puts me in the back of his truck. And I'm out of my head, I guess. And I'm saying, where's everybody? He said, wait a minute. He said, I'm going back. And he comes back and he said, I said, where's everybody? And he said, it's all right. I'm taking you in. And so pretty soon we're riding. And next thing I know, I'm with these big lights over me. Somebody is tearing my clothes off. And they're asking my name and address and serial number, and I'm thinking, should I be giving these?